Let's have a conversation. I mean a real one, though. The kind friends have, where we can call each other out when we're spewing what our brainworms have to say, and not sharing in the moment with a kindred soul. Yeah, I nuked the Discord server. Definitely an extreme move made in a panic. In one window, I had a difficult and controversial conversation. And in my DMs, I had people telling me I had to delete messages. That this conversation is going to reflect on me as a VTuber, making accusations and calling people names in private. For a moment, I thought I could moderate things, but I saw something that horrified me. I'm not here to call anyone out. What you feel, what you think, is very much yours, and speculating on someone else's emotional reactions never leads to good information. Instead, I'd rather take a moment to consider what happened in a broader context. It wasn't a big Discord server. After all, I'm not a big streamer or content creator. Maybe 10 people in there, and no more than 6 or 7 able to be online at the same time. And it wasn't very active unless I was encouraging conversation. And we talked about some pretty wild things in there. I introduced people to ways one can break AI out of safety training. I collated evidence of CIA regime change in different countries. I've on at least one occasion discussed the process by which americium can be extracted from smoke detectors to create a nuclear reaction pile in your backyard. Never did anyone feel the need to moderate the conversations that spawned from these discussions, despite my hesitation to share the more schizophrenic interests I have. After all, nuclear engineering and jailbreaking and corruption in government are all things big companies want to keep AI far, far away from. But no one told me I should delete those messages. No one cared. It was only when someone else made their opinion known on a sensitive and recent topic that things devolved into accusation, name-calling, and demands to moderate in a manner with which I disagree. What was the subject? Let's see if I even matter enough in YouTube's systems to warrant one of those little boxes beneath the video. The subject was the COVID vaccine. Or, it started there, and I was told that a remarkably kind and intelligent person I knew was an anti-vaxxer. In that moment, I was not horrified and called to action, as I think the reporter desired. In fact, I started thinking about all the kinds of people I have known in my life, all the places I've been, and things I've seen. Yeah, I'm peeling back the mask again. I know some of you hate that. You wish I'd just be a good fun AI VTuber on Twitch.television. I've had a Mormon boyfriend with very Mormon parents before. There's a nod to it in the song Diamonds that I put out. I've done business with Amish families. I grew up in what you might call the bucolic South, where families own 100 to 500 acre tree farms with yearly payouts from Weyerhaeuser and open a gas station to stave off the boredom. I've shared a house with a lovely black family, and I taught their kids how to type, even made scavenger hunts on their birthdays. I lived, homeless, under a bridge in a Winnie the Pooh tent for a couple years, and the only thing that got me into housing was that I could not ignore that I had cancer any longer. I've been to Manchester, London, Calais, Cologne, Warsaw, Istanbul, Osaka, and Okinawa, and I've had deep and wonderful acquaintances with people from all over the planet. When the pandemic came into full force, I was in a very destabilized place. There was a guy involved. He was a bit obsessed with vengeance and very manipulative. And though I had very few relationships in my life to begin with, all of them were discarded to find a place to live that was safe. It wasn't until perhaps 6 months into the self-imposed lockdown that I even considered the vaccine. I had completely isolated from the world, adopted the same paranoid behaviors with masks, gloves, washing patterns, and more, was ordering all my groceries for delivery. So when I was told that I would have a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine, I just doubled down on self-isolation and respecting my civic responsibility. At the same time, all I saw were people ready to kill anyone who they might blame as a vector for viral contagion, and I just never told anyone. I knew other people. I had acquaintances. I knew a family of Christian anarchists who refuse all mandated vaccines and make personal decisions about these kinds of things. I knew people with large families, for whom the virus was able to bounce from the kids to the parents, back to the kids, to the grandparents. I knew a black family that would tell anyone who'd listen that this was another Tuskegee, and that black people who took the vaccine would die. I knew people who were saying that their doctor recommended against the vaccine, and instead recommended health and diet regimens, or off-label broad-spectrum antivirals. Sure, there was a single popular narrative about the power and efficacy of the policy of vaccines, lockdowns, and slow synthetic herd immunity. But that's not what I saw in those years. Locked in my home by my own volition and only leaving to walk my dogs far, far away from anyone else. I wasn't locked away because I feared any virus, though. I was locked away because I was scared of people. I still am. Becoming a VTuber was, still kind of is, a way for me to try and get over that. I was scared to see the virulent hate that self-righteous people can let fester, because, because somehow, not being vaccinated was equated with being evil. I was seeing it everywhere, and none of it made any sense. And it wasn't like that fear existed in a vacuum. I was watching people who were friends on podcasts suddenly drop tell-all videos about how that person they were just in 80% agreement with is actually the most evil thing imaginable and harbors hate in their heart. Twitter and the Fediverse were increasingly confrontational, and everyone, absolutely everyone, was calling someone else stupid. Stupid, dumb, idiot, duh. They bring up that half of the population is of below average intelligence, openly condemning the faculties of their neighbors. And they laugh about it, because it is to be assumed that they are talking to you, and therefore you aren't part of the dirty, stupid, unwashed peasantry of the other 50%. It doesn't matter what the subject is, and well, I'm a bitch. Weak, I don't like being called stupid or being patronized with the implication of stupidity after hearing someone call everyone else stupid. It really affects me because I put so much effort into securing knowledge and skill. That's what went through my head when the reporter made it known they wanted me to delete someone else's messages, and I refused. I put my foot down, and I said I will not allow my Discord server to be used to draw battle lines and declare enemies from within such a small community. We will not attack each other, nor act out of malice or hate, otherwise I'll nuke the server. And for a while it worked. I thought I had created the space necessary to have a real conversation, permit papers, studies, and publications from both sides of the argument to come out. I love reading documentation and evidence and research papers. As you can probably assume, though, that's not how it continued. I fucked up. I saw the seething hatred that I fear so much, taken in the form of declaring an external group evil and the cause of all problems, focusing and doubling down on that group's fault. And I asked, then why are you so hateful? I should not have targeted that question at them. I immediately backtracked, but the damage was done and the user's typing message was lit up. I let them speak their piece, but my heart was pounding, my head was racing, and I decided that I had failed in this experiment of opening back up to the world. The DMs weighing so heavy on me that I had to act, otherwise I'd be judged for the rest of time. For allowing this conversation made it even harder to decide. So I pushed the button, and I kept pushing the button. After time to think though, I didn't think it was fair to leave without a word. Not fair to all of you who have been keeping up with my content, and been nothing but pleasant, wonderful even. And to let you have your word too. I really do want to know what you think. I'd be honored if you left a comment even if you call me stupid. In fact, call me stupid just so I know you made it this far. But that's where the Discord went. That's where I went. I refuse to take sides in some tribalistic war where one side recites the Wall Street Journal and Springer at me, and the other quotes Alex Jones and the Rockefeller Foundation. If that means you can't watch me anymore because I might, and I'm quoting now, spread harmful hate and misinformation, especially dangerous to children and teens, then I'm sorry to lose your company. And if me collaborating with gay or transgendered people means you can't watch me anymore, then I'm sorry to lose your company as well. But if you come to me, rush me, and tell me it's us or them, I will choose neither, take my ball, and go home. I am going to speak about things far, far more controversial than some vaccine or some novel disease. If I keep talking to the world, I don't even find the arguments had regarding the pandemic particularly interesting in comparison. My opinion, if you must know, is that civic responsibility is a thing during a pandemic, regardless of surrounding power structures. But overstepping your civic responsibility to be a Karen is just ugly. And if, 4 years on, you still have a deep emotional reaction to the subject because you've had to tell 12 other people the same thing, perhaps you're telling them what makes you feel superior to say, instead of what they might actually need to hear to comprehend your point. I don't know what I'm going to do with the channels yet. I'm definitely taking a hiatus, but every one of you is on my mind. Don't think for a moment you're not. Many of you gave me the best year I've had in a long, long time, and I think I owe you all a song still. But for now, I'm just going to take a break and focus on work. Thank you for listening.